Question we are having on the screen says, what value of the constant m would make the quadratic equation below a perfect square? Now the quadratic equation they provided is in this order: x squared minus 4x plus what? M is equals what? 0. Now they are asking us what would be the value of m that can make the quadratic equation a perfect square. If you've been following me up, you see that since I started perfect square quadratic equation, I started it step by step. I removed that. There was this question, my previous videos, I removed as in I was finding the missing b. Do you understand? I was finding the missing b. Does it make sense? Now what am I trying to find? I'm not finding the missing constant. Is it clear? So you have to follow this thing step by step. Now for me to solve this question, I have to use two methods. The first method is the method that comes from completing the square method of solving quadratic equations. Now, the second method, a kind of funny method here, but it is very comprehensive, very understandable if you pay much attention to it. Now, the first method, I told you, it came from completing the square method. And this first method has rules. The first step says that you will identify b. You do what? You identify b. Second step says you have b. Then third step says that you should do what? You should square the result. So when you square the result, you get your answer. Very simple. But something happens when the coefficient of x squared is not unity in a particular question. So this method, we have much to talk about on it. Does it make sense? So now this next method, which I call the Kosi method, a very nice method. Kosi what? Method. What method am I talking about? This method is just a reverse. That way, a reverse of what we do when trying to prove that a quadratic equation is a perfect square. It's just a reverse of what we normally do. Does it make sense? Now, this Kosi method, I'll use it later. Now, using the first method says what? Identify b. Now, what is the b now? You know that a quadratic equation is anything in the order ax squared plus what? Bx plus c is equals what? 0. Now, what's my b in this quadratic equation? My b is minus 4, right? Now, I've identified b. My b is minus 4. The second step says that you have b. Now, me having b means dividing b by 2. It will give me minus 4 divided by 2 is minus 2. Then the last one says I should square the result. Minus 2 all squared means minus 2 times minus 2. What will it give me? It will give me what? Plus 4. So it means that the value of the constant will definitely be what? 4. So the quadratic equation, for it to be a perfect square, it will occur in the form x squared minus 4x plus 4 is equal to 0. Now let's try to use the Kosi what? Method. Are you there? Now we've gotten from the first method, we know that the quadratic equation will now be in this order: x squared minus 4x plus 4 is equal to what? 0. Let's now go back to what we've done. How can we prove that this quadratic equation is a perfect square? We can prove that by what? Two conditions. Number one, the first term and the last terms must be perfect squares. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of plus 4 is plus or minus 2. But we are taking minus 2. Why? Because of the sign the b is having. Now, the second condition says that when you multiply this square root of the first and last term and still multiply them by 2, that it should give the middle term. That's when I do x times minus 2, it will give me minus 2x, right? Then when I do 2 times that minus 2 what? X, it will now give me the middle term, which is minus 4x. Does it make sense? Now, the Kosi method, a very nice method, is talking about when you are trying to find the constant, which is the m, that you reverse it. From here now, we reverse it back, we get our answer. So here is just a straightforward process. Then the Kosi method is another form of reversal method. Do you understand? Very good. Now you can see that the last thing we got here is the middle term, right? Now how can I trace this back? For me to get from, as in I got minus 4x by multiplying this minus 2x by 2. Now for me to get this minus 2x back, I have to do what? I have to divide this minus 4x by 2. So in this Kosi's method, the first thing I do is dividing the middle what term. Dividing the middle term by 2. Now, the first method, I'll divide the middle term by 2, which says minus 4x divided by 2. What will it give me? It will give me minus 2x. Now, it has given me the minus 2x, right? Use your sense. Try apply sense here. Now, how did these people get minus 2x? Now, from the straightforward process, they got minus 2x by what? By doing square root of the first term times square root of this of the last term. Look at square root of the first term is x, square root of the last term is this, Abi. Very good. Now they multiplied it to get the minus 2x. Do you understand? Now it means that for them to get this minus 2x, they did square root of the first term, which is s squared, times square root of the last term, which is what? And it will give us that what? Minus what? 2x. Now square root of s squared is actually x. Square root of m remains square root of m is equals to minus 2 what? X. So if I divide both sides by what? X all over what? X. Cancel, 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 cancel. I'll get that square root of m is equals what? Minus 2. So what do I do here? I will square both sides to remove square root. I'll square both sides to remove square root. Square cancels what? Square root. So I'm having that m is equals minus 2 all squared. Minus 2 times minus 2 will definitely give us what? Plus what? 4. Have you seen? I've gotten the same method, the same answer. Do you understand? And this method is actually very comprehensive. Understand that this method is just a reversal process of what we do when we are trying to prove that a quadratic equation is a perfect square. Now the method says that the first thing you do is to get that b, no, not getting b, get the middle term, divide it by 2, because trying to prove that the quadratic equation is a perfect square, you must get the middle term, and you get the middle term by what? By multiplying the product of the square root of the first and last terms by 2. So if you want to get that product back, you have to divide the middle term by 2. So minus 4x, if you divide it by 2, you get this. Because you got minus 4x by multiplying this by 2. So if you want to get this from here, you have to divide it by 2. That's what I did. I divided it by 2. Now you ask yourself, how did they get the minus 2x? Initially, they got it by doing the square root of the first term times square root of the last term. Now that's what I did. Square root of the first term times square root of the last term gave us the minus 2x. Does it make sense? So the Kosi's method, bearing this page name, is a very comprehensive method that every student have to key into. Does it make sense? Have a nice day. Like, comment, share, and follow Kosi's Academy. Bye-bye.